In this life, you may have met someone with whom, when you are near, every burden in your heart seems to dissipate. They seem to see through the deepest corners of your soul. Without you needing to utter a word, just through a distant gaze, a subconscious gesture, or even a prolonged silence, they sense the hidden joy, the gnawing sorrow, or the worries you try to conceal. These special individuals are known as highly empathic people, empaths. Their hearts don't merely stop at intellectual understanding, they are open gateways, feeling the pain or happiness of others as if it were their own heartbeat. For them, perceiving the ceaseless flow of emotions in the world around them is a deep part of their nature, shaping how they live and how they love. Who is a highly empathic person? To truly grasp the journey of a highly empathic person in love and marriage, we must first delve into their very nature, a nature sometimes perceived as peculiar, yet profoundly wonderful. A highly empathic individual is more than simply kind or a good listener, it is a core trait that fundamentally shapes how they experience the world and interact with everyone. One of their most striking characteristics is their profound sensitivity. This manifests not only in their ease of discerning subtle emotional cues, a downcast glance, a fleeting frown, or an unconscious sigh, but also in their response to their environment. Imagine, an ordinary person might walk through a crowded street and merely perceive noise. Yet, for a highly empathic individual, every jarring sound, every harsh light, or even the invisible tension from a crowd can become an overwhelming assault on their senses and mind. Consequently, they easily become overloaded, often feeling fatigued for reasons they cannot name. This very sensitivity cultivates an extraordinary capacity for understanding. When you speak with a highly empathic person, you will feel truly comprehended, embraced by an open heart. They don't just process your words, they genuinely taste the rising sorrow, the vibrant joy, or the unspoken distress you try to hide. This profound sense of being deeply understood and fully accepted brings immense comfort, ensuring you never feel alone in your emotions. This inherent trait stems from a powerful compassion that is almost instinctual. They cannot remain indifferent to the suffering of others. When they notice someone in distress, an intrinsic urge arises within them, compelling them to extend a hand, to alleviate that pain. Alongside this sensitivity and compassion lies a potent intuition that defies easy explanation. Highly empathic individuals often possess a gut feeling about a person's true nature or a situation, sometimes far beyond what logical analysis can discern. They might sense dishonesty, deceit, or a negative energy without any concrete evidence. This exceptional sensitivity is not a choice, it is often considered an innate trait rooted in their neurological makeup. Dr. Elaine Aron, an American psychologist, has dedicated decades to researching and popularizing the highly sensitive person, HSP, theory. She estimates that approximately 15 to 20% of the population carries this trait, possessing a nervous system believed to be more sensitive than the majority. Aron's theory emphasizes that HSP is not a pathology or a weakness, but an inborn personality trait characterized by four main features: depth of processing, D, tendency to be overstimulated, O, strong emotional responsiveness and empathy, E, and awareness of subtleties, S. Among these, the remarkable capacity for empathy, E, stands out most prominently in those called empaths. They perceive and process every stimulus from their environment, be it light, sound, or emotion, with greater intensity and depth than others. To delve deeper into this mechanism, research in neuropsychology also highlights the crucial role of mirror neurons. These specialized brain cells activate not only when we perform an action ourselves, but also when we observe others performing that action, or even when we witness their emotions. In highly empathic individuals, this mirror neuron system is believed to be particularly robust and efficient. This explains why they can mirror and genuinely feel the pain or joy of others within their own brain, akin to an emotional contagion at a biological level. While this ability is a gift for profound understanding, it also carries a significant risk of emotional overload, an issue we will explore further in their relationships. What's it like to love and marry a highly empathic person? When your heart chooses to connect with a highly empathic person, especially in love or marriage, it's not merely about accepting a personality, it's about opening a door to a relationship of unique depth and complexity, one that demands profound mutual understanding. This journey promises invaluable gifts rarely found elsewhere, alongside challenges that require acute awareness and delicate management to prevent them from becoming overwhelming burdens. Loving a highly empathic person means experiencing a connection you might never have felt so deeply. It transcends ordinary definitions of understanding, reaching into the deepest layers of the soul and forging a solid foundation for love. The invaluable gifts in a relationship with a highly empathic person, you will experience something truly remarkable, the presence of someone who seems to see through the most hidden corners of your soul. This isn't coincidence, but the result of a sophisticated and remarkably sensitive perceptual apparatus. Imagine, you don't need to speak, you don't need to articulate complex thoughts or feelings, just through a distant gaze, an unconscious gesture, or even a prolonged silence, they sense the simmering anxiety, the vibrant joy, or the sorrows you try to conceal. This profound feeling of being deeply seen and fully accepted brings immense liberation. It frees you from the burden of explaining, of justifying your complex emotions. You don't have to put on a brave face or wear a social mask, because they seem to understand even before you manage to articulate your thoughts. When you are engulfed in deep sorrow, a tight embrace from them can be enough to make you feel deeply embraced and comforted, often to your surprise. This is because they don't just perceive your pain, they feel it as if it were part of their own being. They walk with you into that emotional landscape, transforming your pain into a shared experience so you are not alone. Their empathic presence is not just a solid pillar of support, it's an absolute safe haven where you can reveal your most hidden facets, your deepest wounds, without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. This shared emotional burden often creates a rare inner peace in life, a sense of complete understanding that every soul craves. The highly empathic person's refined perception doesn't just offer immediate understanding, it also cultivates a profoundly deep, authentic, and strong bond. They possess a sixth sense for nonverbal cues, a downcast glance hinting at sadness, a gentle squeeze of the hand conveying comfort, or even a meaningful silence that speaks volumes. This almost uncanny ability to read you allows them to grasp not only what you say but also what you feel and desire deep within. This is not intrusive penetration but a natural sensitivity leading to an understanding that transcends mere words. You'll sense a connection as if an invisible thread links two souls, a rare resonance you might not find in anyone else. Furthermore, their compassion is not merely a trait but a powerful force that drives them to act for your well-being. They tend to be deeply concerned with your comfort and happiness, often willing to sacrifice and give generously in the relationship without expecting anything in return. Their kindness and genuine goodwill are inherent, an inseparable part of how they express love, rather than a calculated act. Once they love, they often love deeply and sincerely, investing their entire heart and soul into the relationship, yearning for an authentic and lasting bond. They see the inherent good within you, despite any flaws or hidden vulnerabilities you might possess. This unconditional acceptance and unwavering belief in you build a strong foundation of trust, making you feel completely loved and accepted for who you are, without needing to pretend or strive to be someone else, a pivotal factor in forging a lasting connection. In any relationship, conflict is inevitable. However, when you love a highly empathic person, you'll discover how you both approach and resolve disagreements more effectively and with less damage. Their profound empathy allows them to easily put themselves in your shoes, understanding your perspective and emotions even when you are angry or confused. They don't just hear your words during an argument, they feel the frustration, the hurt, or the fear hidden beneath harsh remarks. This deep understanding is the key, enabling them to approach conflict constructively, seeking joint solutions rather than getting bogged down in blame or endless arguments that only erode the relationship. They can sense the root causes of conflict, perhaps an unmet need, an old wound triggered, or a minor misunderstanding that escalated. Recognizing these underlying factors helps both of you reconcile, forgive, and overcome challenges together, transforming each disagreement into an opportunity for deeper understanding. Moreover, through their profound understanding and acceptance, they create a safe space for you to explore yourself, to confront your own imperfect aspects. They can be a powerful catalyst for your personal growth and improvement, as they believe in your potential and are willing to support you through every stage of development, turning conflict into shared growth within your love. Finally, loving a highly empathic person opens up a rich inner life and heightened emotional experiences for both partners. They often possess a deeply profound inner world, being uniquely sensitive to the beauty of art, music, literature, and the subtle wonders of nature. Being with them can inspire you to view the world through a more vibrant lens, exploring emotional depths you might never have accessed before. Quiet evenings spent listening to instrumental music, reading a book together, sharing thoughts about the universe, or simply watching a sunset in silence can become deeply meaningful moments where two souls intertwine and jointly experience life's exquisite beauty. This not only adds color and depth to your relationship but also creates unique, unforgettable emotional experiences. In the realm of intimacy, their sensitivity allows them to subtly perceive and respond to their partner's emotional and physical needs. They can sense your desires, comfort, or unease even in the most private moments, fostering a romantic connection and profound harmony where both partners flourish in love and mutual understanding. Their relationship transcends mere physical connection, it's a spiritual communion, a rare and cherished experience that elevates both to a new level of intimacy and comprehension. The challenges that demand understanding and management. Despite the many invaluable gifts they bring, loving a highly empathic person also comes with significant challenges. These demand profound awareness, immense patience, and skillful management from both partners to prevent them from becoming overwhelming burdens that erode the relationship. One of the most pervasive and often debilitating issues a highly empathic person faces is the burden of chronic emotional exhaustion. It directly and profoundly impacts the quality of their relationship and their own well-being. Imagine a sponge constantly soaking up water without ever being wrung out. Empaths are similar. They relentlessly absorb emotions not only from you, from family and friends, but also from broader sources like negative news on social media, tragic films, or even the unseen tension in a crowded workplace or the chaos of a bustling city. Gradually, that emotional sponge becomes heavy, waterlogged, unable to be squeezed dry, leading to a state of chronic exhaustion. This isn't merely ordinary physical tiredness or lack of sleep. Dr. Elaine Aron, who has spent decades researching highly sensitive persons, HSP, explains that their nervous system is genuinely more sensitive and processes information more deeply. This makes them prone to overstimulation, a hallmark of HSP, from the immense volume of information and emotions in the external world. Their energy depletes rapidly, requiring more time and personal space to recover than the average person. When overwhelmed, an empathy might become uncharacteristically silent, irritable, withdrawn, or even fall into a state of inexplicable depression. This exhaustion doesn't just affect them individually, it can also weigh heavily on the relationship itself, making it difficult for them to express affection, leading to aloofness or impatience with their loved one, even when they care deeply. Accompanying their sensitivity is a significant challenge in establishing and maintaining personal boundaries. This is a critical vulnerability that often leads to deep emotional hurt for the empathy and severe imbalance in the relationship. Driven by profound compassion and an innate desire to please others, especially their loved one, highly empathic individuals find it exceedingly difficult to decline unreasonable requests or demands. They tend to prioritize your needs and desires above their own, even if it means sacrificing their time, energy, or even their health. This leads to a severe imbalance in the relationship, gradually rendering them passive, susceptible to exploitation, and ultimately, painfully losing themselves. They might feel like an emotional doormat always ready to absorb others' negativity but forgetting how to wring themselves dry. The empathy is kindness and unconditional willingness to give, paradoxically, make them easy targets for selfish, manipulative individuals, or those carrying unresolved aspects of their shadow. According to Carl Jung, the shadow comprises the parts of ourselves we deny, suppress, or refuse to confront, such as selfishness, anger, fear, weakness. People who haven't dealt with their own shadow may unconsciously project these burdens onto the empathy. The empathy, with their strong ability to absorb emotions, can inadvertently carry these suppressed feelings and internal conflicts that others are unwilling to face. Absorbing another's shadow is an immense psychological burden, leaving them further exhausted and feeling emotionally drained, sometimes without understanding why they feel so heavy. They might carry anger, sadness, or insecurity that isn't their own, distorting their own emotions and self-perception. This difficulty in setting boundaries isn't random, it often has deep roots in insecure attachment patterns formed in childhood. As per attachment theory, if a child grows up in an environment where they constantly had to read their parents' emotions to feel safe and loved, example parents were emotionally inconsistent or demanded unconditional compliance, they unconsciously carry this habit into adult relationships. Saying no becomes an invisible threat of abandonment or lack of love, making it difficult for them to establish healthy boundaries, even if it exhausts them and leads to self-loss in the relationship. The deep-seated fear of losing love and acceptance compels them to accept what others would reject, trapping them in a cycle of self-sacrifice and depletion. Another ever-present and essential need for highly empathic individuals is personal space and recovery time. To decompress and cleanse themselves of the emotions absorbed from the world, they require a significant amount of alone time and private space. This is not a sign of aloofness, indifference, or lack of love, it is, conversely, a crucial physiological need for energy regeneration, akin to recharging a device after intense use. Emotional overload makes them crave absolute peace, a temporary shelter from the external noise and the emotional world of others. Without sufficient downtime, they can become irritable, anxious, withdrawn, or feel suffocated within the relationship, sometimes even desiring to escape all social interaction. They need quiet moments to reconnect with themselves. Activities like meditation, solitary walks in nature, reading in peace, or engaging in creative pursuits without interruption or pressure for social engagement. A failure to understand and respect this fundamental need can lead to deep misunderstandings and cracks in the relationship. Partners might feel neglected or unloved, unaware that their loved one is simply trying to protect their own energy from depletion. The relationship can become subtly strained due to a very real need that is neither recognized nor adequately met. Moreover, despite their profound perceptive abilities, communication with a highly empathic person can sometimes become complex in a peculiar way. While they might sense your emotions without you speaking, this variability can sometimes create a problem. Empaths might make assumptions about your feelings or intentions, rather than waiting for you to express or confirm them. For instance, they might believe they've understood everything about your problem without detailed explanation, leading to overlooked nuances or offering solutions that don't align with your actual desires. This can sometimes make you feel guessed at or not fully heard, despite their good intentions. Conversely, you might also fall into the trap of over-trusting their intuition, believing they've got it, and neglect to clearly articulate your true thoughts or needs. This can leave issues unresolved, or emotions suppressed, under the mistaken belief that the other person understands when they actually don't. Furthermore, due to their sensitivity to every detail and propensity for overload, they may struggle with long conversations, too much negative information, or excessive simultaneous stimuli. This demands patience and effort from both partners to communicate clearly, to validate what they perceive, and to engage in continuous dialogue to prevent assumptions or unnecessary pressure on them. Carl Rogers, a pioneer in humanistic psychology, emphasized that healthy empathy requires the ability to understand and feel another's inner world as if it were your own, but without ever losing the awareness of the as-if quality. Highly empathic individuals often find it challenging to maintain this as-if boundary, leading them to become easily overwhelmed and absorbed. Effective communication with a highly empathic person demands a delicate balance between trusting their intuition and being transparent and direct in your words, helping them learn to empathize without dissolving into the other. When a highly empathic person feels exploited or imbalanced, when a highly empathic person has endured beyond their limits, meaning they feel fed up, thoroughly exploited, or in a state of severe, prolonged imbalance, a powerful and decisive transformation occurs. This isn't merely a fleeting reaction or an outburst of anger, it's a deep internal revolution, a process of awakening or breakthrough for the empathy, marking a pivotal turning point in their life and how they interact with the world. This transformation manifests most clearly in their establishment of strong and uncompromising boundaries. Empaths, who instinctively find it difficult to say no due to their compassion and apprehension of displeasing others, will now resolutely decline unreasonable requests, refuse to engage in negative behaviors, and fiercely protect their personal space. These boundaries can be remarkably firm, often shocking those accustomed to exploiting or manipulating them, as they have never witnessed this aspect of the empathy before. It's a powerful declaration that they will no longer be an endless emotional sponge for others to wring dry. In such circumstances, they will withdraw or even sever toxic relationships. The empathy will cease trying to rescue, sacrifice themselves, or tolerate individuals who consistently exploit, manipulate, or hurt them. They might cut off contact, separate, or divorce, even distancing themselves from close family members if those relationships are the source of chronic emotional depletion. This decisive action, though sometimes perceived as cold or ruthless by outsiders, is, in essence, an act of desperate self-preservation after a prolonged period of neglect and deep emotional injury. During this phase, their focus shifts entirely from caring for others to prioritizing their own well-being and mental health, self-care. They will seek out and practice methods for energy recovery and regaining inner peace. This becomes a journey of self-reconstruction, learning to listen to their own needs and dedicating time to healing activities that they might have previously neglected. Simultaneously, they become more assertive and stronger in their communication and actions. They will speak up for themselves, defend their rights, and express their views clearly and directly, no longer fearing to displease others or initiate conflict. Their ability to read people, instead of being a burden leading to exploitation, is now used strategically for self-protection. They can identify and distance themselves from ill-intentioned individuals, or effectively expose manipulation, no longer easily deceived or taken advantage of due to their trusting nature. This transformation is not merely a transient reaction but a critical turning point in their process of individuation, a central concept in Carl Jung's analytical psychology. Jung believed that individuation is a lifelong journey to become a complete, unique, and authentic individual, integrating both conscious and unconscious aspects of the self. Before this point, the empathy might have unconsciously absorbed the shadow of others, the aspects of themselves that others deny, suppress, such as selfishness, anger, fear. Jung warned that this leads to a loss of self and exhaustion. When fed up, the empathy begins the process of differentiating themselves from others, recognizing that carrying others' emotions and shadows hinders their own growth. They learn to confront and integrate their own shadow rather than simply absorbing and carrying burdens that don't belong to them. This is when they relinquish the role of rescuer or emotional victim to become a more independent and powerful individual, a more authentic and whole self. Jung envisioned a mature empathy as an emotional alchemist, someone capable of transforming pain and chaos into wisdom and strength, without losing themselves. They become a channel of consciousness, helping others within limits and without self-destruction. The perspective from Carl Rogers' humanistic psychology also reinforces this. Rogers emphasized that healthy empathy requires the ability to understand and feel another's inner world as if it were your own, but without ever losing the awareness of the as-if quality. Highly empathic individuals often find it challenging to maintain this as-if boundary, causing them to become easily overwhelmed and absorbed by others' emotions. The fed-up phase is precisely an effort for them to reclaim that boundary, protect their integrity, and learn to empathize without dissolving. This is a journey of rebirth, where they rediscover their inner strength and redefine how they interact with the world, becoming more resilient than ever before. Navigating relationships with a highly empathic person. Having profoundly understood the inherent strengths and challenges of loving a highly empathic person, a crucial question emerges: how can one build and sustain a healthy, enduring relationship with them? This demands not only love but also awareness, patience, and conscious effort from both partners, particularly from the loved one. For a relationship with a highly empathic person to truly flourish, the partner must act as a sensitive guardian, continuously nurturing and shielding that delicate soul, helping them maintain balance and avoid exhaustion. One of the most critical understandings a partner must grasp is the empathy's urgent need for personal space and recovery time. This is not a sign of aloofness, indifference, or lack of affection. Conversely, it is a vital survival mechanism, an essential oasis for them to regenerate depleted emotional energy. Imagine the empathy's mind as a processor constantly receiving and analyzing millions of emotional signals daily. Without downtime to process and release this information, the system will overload and collapse, leading to complete exhaustion. Facilitating these quiet moments is an act of profound love. It might involve allowing them a peaceful evening alone in their study, a walk in the park without interruption, or simply meditating in complete silence. When they retreat to their oasis, avoid feeling abandoned or questioning their affection. Instead, view it as a sign of healthy self-care, and a way they prepare to return to the relationship with renewed energy and full presence. This respect for their fundamental need not only helps them avoid exhaustion but also strengthens trust and security in the relationship, as they know their deepest needs are genuinely understood and accepted. Furthermore, a significant challenge that is nonetheless fundamental for a stable relationship with a highly empathic person is learning to establish and maintain healthy personal boundaries. The partner must proactively support the empathy in this endeavor. An empathy often struggles to say no due to their immense compassion and apprehension of displeasing others, especially loved ones. The partner can begin by recognizing signs of their exhaustion, then gently but firmly encouraging them to decline requests that exceed their capacity or cause them harm. For instance, if you notice them overwhelmed by work or social commitments, proactively suggest they rest, or even step in to help them gracefully decline for others when necessary. This action is not about control or imposition, it's an act of profound protection and love, showing them that their well-being is more important than pleasing everyone. Both partners need to discuss and agree upon clear boundaries within the relationship regarding personal time, emotional sharing, and reasonable expectations. This creates a shared safe zone where both feel respected and protected. As the empathy learns that setting boundaries does not equate to losing love or acceptance, they will gradually gain confidence in protecting their energy, thus enabling them to give sustainably and healthily. Despite the empathy's remarkable intuitive abilities, clear and transparent communication can sometimes become complex in its own way. The partner should not assume the empathy has understood everything merely through their perception. Instead, actively express your thoughts, feelings, and needs directly, yet gently and without pressure. This helps the empathy avoid guessing or bearing unnecessary emotional burdens from ambiguities. When conflicts or issues arise, use nonviolent communication techniques. Focus on expressing your feelings, "I feel," when you do/say that, rather than blaming or criticizing, "you always." Simultaneously, create a safe space and encourage the empathy to share their feelings clearly, even when it's difficult, as they often fear hurting others. This transparency builds trust and mutual understanding, preventing misunderstandings that arise from emotional assumptions. Effective communication serves as a bridge between two souls, exceptionally vital when one partner possesses such profound sensitivity to unspoken cues. Beyond the invaluable support from their partner, highly empathic individuals themselves must proactively practice strategies of self-care and self-love to safeguard their energy and mental well-being. This forms the foundation for them to maintain balance and continue contributing immense value to the relationship, preventing their gift of empathy from becoming a burden. Self-care is not selfishness, it is a necessary and vital act for the empathy to continue giving in a healthy way. They need to build a conscious and disciplined self-care routine. This includes dedicating time to activities that help them decompress emotionally and regenerate energy, meditation, yoga, journaling to release chaotic thoughts, spending time in nature, reading, listening to calming music, or pursuing a personal hobby unrelated to others. These activities help them cleanse absorbed negative emotions and reconnect with themselves, finding their inner peace. Crucially, empaths must learn to listen to their bodies and minds subtly, recognizing warning signs of emotional overload, such as extreme fatigue, irritability, inexplicable anxiety, or withdrawal, and proactively stepping back to rest before they become completely exhausted. This is a continuous learning and practice, as their instinct is often to prioritize others. Self-care not only makes them healthier but also makes the relationship more sustainable, because a recharged empathy can be more present and love fully, instead of being a mere shadow of exhaustion. A crucial, albeit challenging, and revolutionary lesson for the empathy is learning to build robust personal boundaries. They must recognize that compassion does not equate to carrying all of another's pain or problems. Instead, healthy compassion is the ability to deeply sympathize without merging with that emotion, to help others without harming oneself. They need to learn to say no firmly yet politely to requests that exceed their limits or to relationships that are emotionally draining. This requires deep self-awareness and a firm belief that prioritizing their mental health and boundaries is not selfish, but a necessary act to maintain balance. They can start with small boundaries, such as declining an unnecessary call during their rest time, or limiting contact with individuals who consistently bring negative energy. This process might initially cause guilt as they are accustomed to pleasing, but with persistence and support from their partner, they will realize that protecting their personal boundaries is precisely how they can sustain their compassion and capacity for love, without succumbing to exhaustion and resentment. In some cases, when an empathy feels so overwhelmed that they cannot manage their emotions independently, when boundaries have been repeatedly violated, or when they recognize recurring self-harming behavioral patterns, example constant exploitation, seeking professional psychological support is a courageous and absolutely essential step. An experienced therapist can help them understand their traits better, learn to manage emotions effectively, develop and enforce healthy boundaries, and build positive coping strategies for their inherent sensitivity. Therapy can provide a safe and guided space for them to process suppressed emotions, deep-seated hurts from absorbing others' negative energy, and, most importantly, learn how to release burdens that do not belong to them. This is not a sign of weakness or failure, but a powerful act of self-love and a profound commitment to their mental well-being, thereby strengthening the health and sustainability of their relationship. Love and marriage with a highly empathic person is a journey that is both challenging and profoundly fulfilling. It demands a deep understanding of their sensitive nature, boundless patience, and an unwavering commitment to building a safe space where both can grow and flourish. When an empathy is loved and supported appropriately, they become the most wonderful partners, individuals who offer profound understanding, boundless compassion, and a sincere, unconditional love. They are rare souls, capable of transforming ordinary moments into deeply meaningful experiences, and bringing an emotional depth that few relationships can rival. Conversely, when they are not understood or protected, they can become emotionally exhausted and vulnerable souls, and the relationship may descend into misunderstanding and burden. Therefore, cherish the highly empathic people in your life. Learn to love them not just with your heart but with a profound understanding of their complex inner world, the challenges they face, and the immense strength hidden within them. For when two souls, one empathic and one empathetic, harmonize, they can create a beautiful symphony of love, a living testament to the power of genuine human connection, a love that transcends the ordinary.